Hey guys, Tony here. Welcome back. In my last video, we did a recap of the earnings for 2023 and Q4 2023. We talked about everything that AMC did well and what I see as some of the main challenges for 2024 to survive into 2025. And we kind of wrapped up that video talking about free cash flow and the cash burn. I'll put a link to that video right up here. If you haven't seen that one, go take a look before you watch this one. In this video, though, we're going to talk about the cash burn in 2024. This is one of the most important things that I'm going to be watching on AMC's quarterly results as we go forward, besides watching the overall box office numbers every week and every quarter. Let's talk about my projections for 2024 cash burn in this video. Over the past couple of days, I've seen all sorts of predictions for AMC's cash burn in 2024. Some people saying that AMC is going to go bankrupt in just a couple quarters and burn through the entire $880 million in cash that they have on the balance sheet. Other people saying that AMC has 4 or 5 years of cash on the balance sheet. And I understand, guys, why it is confusing. And I understand why people that are overly bearish are also giving you some misinformation. But let's talk about what I perceive as the facts, my opinions, and my projections. And I'll go through with you some of the assumptions I made. And we'll try and get an idea what the cash burn is and what that means to you if you are an investor in AMC. Looking here on the screen at the press release AMC put out on February 28th, there's a couple of things that talk about cash and cash burn, and it can be confusing if you're not a finance student, a finance expert, or an accountant. The first thing that they say is, in orange, net cash used in operating activities for Q4 was $77.8 million. The second thing they say is that the non-GAAP operating cash burn was $0.8 million. And when people see those numbers, they jump on that without thinking through what cash burn is and make some bad assumptions. First of all, the first line there, net cash used in operating activities, $77.8 million. Cash burn is more than just cash used in operating activities. You must also account for CapEx, which is not included in operating activities. So if you're not doing that, you're going to come up with a number for the cash burn that is too low on an annual basis. I'll explain that further in the next graphic I have for you in just a second. You don't need to be an accounting expert to get through this video, trust me. The second line that they talk about, the non-GAAP operating cash burn being $0.8 million, people say, well, clearly there's almost no cash burn whatsoever. Non-GAAP means that it is an adjusted cash burn. You can just forget about that because at the end of the day, we don't care about adjusted cash burn. We want to know what is the real cash burn. Now let's talk about that a little further. Like I said, this is a difficult topic to understand, to even forecast. And I'm going to start off by showing you something here on page 5 of AMC's 10K, the one that was released just a week ago. And they go through a lot of risks that you need to understand if you're investing in AMC. And one of them, and the very first one, in fact, is talking about the cash burn, highlighted in yellow here. It says our cash burn rates are not sustainable long-term. That is a fact. In blue, it says here, in order to achieve sustainable net positive operating cash flow and long-term profitability, we believe that operating revenues will need to increase to levels in line with pre-COVID operating revenues. That is also true. As we talked about in the last video, AMC is so big, it is sized to be profitable only if the box office is, by my estimation, over $10.1 billion. It might be 10.5, it might be 11, but by my estimation, 10.1 billion domestic box office is what AMC needs to break even, and then anything above that will be profit. We will find out when we get to that point how accurate my prediction is. That will be sometime in 2025 or 2026. They go on to say here in green to wrap this up, until such time as we are able to achieve positive operating cash flow, it is difficult to estimate our liquidity requirements, future cash burn rates, future operating revenues, and attendance levels. When even the company is telling us here in the 10K that they could have some difficulty estimating liquidity requirements and future cash burn rates, I hope you will grant me some grace here in this video as I share with you my due diligence and my projections. Understand that this is a difficult task to do with a high degree of accuracy. Even the experts on the accounting team over at AMC have a little bit of fuzziness about what the exact cash burn is going to be. But I think for our own due diligence, as we're holding this stock or buying or selling, whatever you're doing, you should be thinking about what is the cash burn going to be, because if it is too high, the next thing that happens is the company's going to go need to tap the equity market again, raise more cash, likely through more dilution. The easiest way to get a handle on what is the cash burn, if we want to go back and look at previous quarters or previous years, is to use any of the tools that are out there like Yahoo Finance or stockanalysis.com. Go to your cash flow statement on the financial statements and look down at the bottom for the free cash flow. You can see here for 2023, for the entire year, the cash flow was a negative $440 million. The free cash flow of negative $440 million that we see down here on the bottom comes from two numbers on the cash flow statement. I have them highlighted here at the top. The operating cash flow, negative $215 million, plus capital expenditures, what we call CapEx, at negative $225 million. Add those two up, that gives you your free cash flow. Now, if you prefer to use Yahoo Finance, they have the exact same thing here. Just find your financials, go to the cash flow statement, and at the bottom, they have free cash flow. Yahoo Finance is showing that for the year 2023, the free cash flow for AMC was negative $444 million. Very similar to the tool we just looked at on the other screen. Okay, so you're wondering now, what do we do with this information? We know how to look it up in the past. How the heck do we predict what it's going to be in the future for 2024? When we look at the box office revenue, domestic box office for 2023, it came in at $8.9 billion. And we have an estimate from analysts in the movie industry that 2024 box office domestically is going to come in maybe $8 billion, maybe $8.5 billion. This is a little bit of judgment here for you to decide what you think the box office is going to be, because that number is going to change what the cash burn is. But we can see that based on what we know right now, the box office for 2024 is most likely going to be lower than 2023. We've heard that not only from independent analysts, but every CEO that had earnings in the last week or so, including Cinemark, IMAX, and AMC, all telling us that they expect 2024 box office to be lower than 2023. To wrap this all up and get an idea of what our range of potential cash burn for 2024 is for AMC, let's look at the bottom half of this spreadsheet, and you can ignore the stuff on the top here. This is just numbers that I put in a spreadsheet from the cash flow statement. The really interesting ones that we care about, as we discussed, is the operating cash flow and the capital expenditures. We had to make some assumptions, quite a bit of assumptions, to try and get some guesses what the cash burn for 2024 is. First of all, we know that CapEx is going to be around $225 million for the year 2024. That's what Adam Aaron said in the earnings call, if I recall correctly. The other number that we need to guess is what is going to be the operating cash flow. How negative is it going to be for 2024? That's why I have these two numbers in italics, because we don't know these numbers. These are some of my assumptions. Where did I come up with negative $283 million? That number comes from this same spreadsheet that I use and share with you guys every quarter to make my best guess in advance what the revenue for a quarter is going to be and what the GAAP earnings per share is going to be. I just added a few more formulas to try and guess based on data, based on previous data, depending on what number the box office comes in at, what the operating cash flow is going to be. And that is this item number 2 here, the domestic box office. I have, for example, for you to think about, $7.5 billion, $8 billion, $8.5, and $9 billion, which would be more than 2023. Not really a likely scenario here. So I have highlighted in green what I think is the most likely scenario. Second, after that would be either $7.5 billion or $8.5 billion. We'll have to do an update on this cash burn every month or so and see how we're tracking towards one of these domestic box office numbers. But let's just say that that domestic box office up here at the top is $8 billion for 2024. Going back over to the cash burn spreadsheet, that gives us a operating cash flow through all the formulas that I have on the other spreadsheet of estimated negative $283 million for the year. Approximately, again, guys, this is all projections for me. I don't work for AMC. Nobody's handing me this information. This is my work to try and give you my best guess of where we're at. With the operating cash flow for the year now, based on my model, estimated at negative $283 million, plus the capital expenditures, another negative $225 million. That gives us over here in the far right column, free cash flow, negative $508 million, or a cash burn of $508 million. Again, based here in the green at the bottom, that is based off of a domestic box office of $8 billion. And you can see if the box office is lower, the cash burn estimate is a little high. If the box office comes in better than $8 billion, we get a little bit less cash burn. That is for the year of 2024. And keep in mind, we have $884 million on the balance sheet right now. So that tells me we got plenty enough cash to last throughout 2024. But if this scenario is the one that comes true, we will end the year with just over $380 million cash left on the balance sheet. To wrap this all up, for me, this spreadsheet answers the question that I have: are we going to run out of cash in 2024? I believe no, based on my due diligence, my own work. And for any of your favorite trolls who say the company is definitely going to run out of cash in 2024, I've already heard it all over the place. They'll be bankrupt and out of cash in 6 months. Please send them this video and let them do their best to try and debunk it with actual data and not emotions. The second obvious question is the company going to dilute more? Are they going to say $300 million is not enough to end the year going into 2025? We want to have more than $300 million. Hey, I can't answer that question for you. It's something for each and every one of you, and myself included, to think about. And it's something that I certainly am going to be paying very close attention to every single month of this year. What is the cash position of the company? How comfortable do I think they're feeling about their cash position? And then we make our own best guess about what to do tomorrow. Every day that we think about this, the next day we got to think, is the company going to dilute or are we safe? Best case scenario, some movies in 2024 outperform expectations and we come in with a higher domestic box office, maybe $8.5 billion. Then the company ends the year with only $475 million in cash burn. Maybe they're feeling comfortable not diluting going into 2025, which is going to be a bit of a more gangbuster year. Whether or not they make a decision to dilute more, to raise more cash, to get more cash on the balance sheet, to give themselves a little bit more breathing room, a little more cushion, let's just hope, and I hope right along with you, that they're not going to do it at the $4 level. We're at $4.36 going into this coming week. I certainly would prefer not to have dilution at this level. If I was in their shoes, I'd be just trying to not do anything and be patient all the way until Q3 of 2024, when things get much more exciting as far as the movies that are out there. Maybe the sentiment in the market starts changing and people get excited about Q3 potential revenue for the quarter, and the price starts ticking up. $4, $5, $6, $8 maybe. I think maybe then they might be more tempted to do some dilution if they really got drawn down in Q1 or Q2. So that is why I'm doing this sort of analysis early, so that I have my game plan for what I think the company is going to do every quarter this year. Am I going to be right? Do I know their timing? The first question, am I going to be right? I don't know. I'm just sharing this here with you so we can have a discussion. What is the timing going to be? I don't know that either. I don't even know if there's going to be dilution in 2024, but it's something that we need to have on our list of things that we worry about if you are a rational investor. Hopefully you found this mental exercise useful. I'm certainly not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to make you make any decisions to sell your stock or convince you to try and hold. Everything is up to you guys. But if you're not thinking about cash burn, hopefully this gets the gears turning, maybe inspires you to learn a little bit more about it. Drop me some questions or comments down below. Let's have a conversation back and forth. If you found any errors in my work today, please let me know that as well. I am Tony Denaro. Thank you for watching. Please share this video, and I will see ya on the next one.